Hello everyone, this is Shankha Subrasanial on behalf of S-Cubes classes. Before I begin the session, I would like to take this privilege in thanking you for your enormous responses. I'm really privileged to get all these responses from you. Some of you are coming up with queries, some of you are sending me feedback. Thank you so much. Well, today's session we'll be talking about matter in our surrounding. This is the second lecture of the series, and what we are doing over here is we'll be discussing about classification of matter, how it is classified into solid, liquids, and gases. What are the properties of solids, liquids, and gases, and how these properties actually play a very important role in our day-to-day life. Rigid means unbending or inflexible. A stone is rigid because it is unbending or inflexible. Fluid means a material which can flow easily and requires a vessel or container to keep it. Water is a fluid because if we pour water on the top of a table, it flows over the surface of the table. Moreover, water requires a vessel to keep it. Milk is a fluid and chlorine gas is also a fluid. Keeping these points in mind, let us now go ahead and define what is solids, liquids, and gases. On the basis of physical states, all the matters can be classified into basically three groups: solids, liquids, and gases. For example, sand, sugar, iron, ice, metals, they all come under solids. While water, milk, kerosene, petrol, or alcohol are liquids, while air, oxygen, carbon dioxide, steam, they all are classified as gases. Solid, liquids, and gases are called the three states of matter. In other words, matter exists in three physical states: solid, liquid, and gas. The solids, liquids, and gaseous form of matter have different properties. The characteristic properties of solid, liquids, and gases we will be discussing in the coming slides. Before that, let us know what is a solid, what is a liquid, and what is a gaseous state. A solid is a rigid form of matter. Due to its rigidity, solids have a tendency to maintain their shape when subjected to outside force. Thus, the main identifying characteristics of solids is their rigidity. Solids do not require a container to be kept. A brick and a log of wood are two common solids. In solids, the particles are closely packed. A solid has a fixed shape because the particles of a solid are closely packed and their positions are fixed due to the strong forces of attraction between them. A solid has a fixed volume because the spaces between its particles are fixed. A solid cannot be compressed much because its particles are already very closely packed and there are hardly any spaces between them. It has high density because its particles are very close together. A solid does not fill its container completely because its particles are held tightly by strong interparticle forces and hence cannot leave their positions to fill up the whole container. Similarly, a solid does not flow like a liquid does because its particles are held very strongly and are unable to leave their fixed positions. A liquid is a fluid form of matter which occupies the lower part of the container in which it is kept. A liquid does not fill the whole container. Being fluid, liquids require a container to keep them. A liquid has a well-defined surface, so a liquid can be kept in an open container. The liquid will not escape from the open container by itself. Water and milk are two very common liquids that we come across in our day-to-day life. A liquid does not have a fixed shape because the position of its particles are not fixed due to comparatively less strong forces of attraction between them. A liquid takes the shape of its container because the particles of liquid can slide over one another easily. A liquid has a fixed volume because at a given temperature, the spaces between its particles are fixed. A liquid cannot be compressed much because its particles are still quite close together and have very small spaces between them. A liquid has comparatively high density because its particles are still quite close together. A liquid does not fill its container completely because its particles are held fairly strongly by the interparticle forces and hence cannot leave the body of liquid to fill the whole container. A gas is a fluid form of matter which fills the whole container in which it is kept. Being fluids, gases also require a container to be kept. A gas does not have a free surface, so a gas has to be kept in a closed container. A gas will escape if kept in an open container like a liquid. That's why gases are usually kept in airtight gas cylinders. For example, cooking gas is kept in an airtight metal cylinder. Well, we now know that liquids and gases are both fluids, but we must note that the characteristics of liquids and gases of flowing easily is called fluidity, which we have discussed in this lecture in the first slide. Due to fluidity, liquids and gases change their shapes readily when subjected to outside. Gas does not have a fixed shape because the position of its particles are not fixed. A gas does not have a fixed volume because the spaces between its particles are not fixed. Since the particles of the gas are free to move anywhere, it takes the shape and volume of the container. A gas can be compressed easily because its particles are far apart and there are large spaces between them, which can be reduced by compression. A gas has a very low density because its particles are very far apart from one another. It fills its container completely because due to high kinetic energy and negligible force of attraction, the particles of the gas are moving with high speeds in all directions. A gas flows easily because its particles are completely free to move anywhere. The spreading out and mixing up of a substance with another substance due to the motion of its particles is called diffusion. The diffusion of a substance into another substance goes on until a uniform mixture is formed. Diffusion is a property of matter which is based on the motion or movement of its particles. It occurs in gases, liquids, and solids. It is fastest in gases and slowest in solids. The diffusion is fastest in gases because the particles in gases move very rapidly. The diffusion is slowest in solids because the particles in solids do not move much. The diffusion in liquid is, however, much faster than that in solids. The rate of diffusion increases on increasing the temperature of the diffusing substance. Diffusion in gases is very fast. This is because the particles in gases move very quickly in all directions. The rate of diffusion of gas, however, depends on its density. Light gases diffuse faster than heavy gases. Normally in a laboratory, we take the example of bromine gas and mix it up in a container which is having air, and we show that this mixing up takes place. From daily life, let us take examples which you can correlate yourself with. The smell of food being cooked in the kitchen reaches us even from a considerable distance. This can be explained by the fact that when food is cooked, some of the substances in food release gases having the smell of food in them. The particles of these gases move very quickly and mix up with air by diffusion. When the air containing these gases reaches our nose, we get the smell of food being cooked in the kitchen. Thus, the smell of food being cooked reaches us even from a considerable distance by the process of diffusion. Another example that comes to my mind is that of the burning incense stick, agarbatti. The fragrance of burning incense stick spreads all around due to the diffusion of its smoke into air. The particles of gases produced by the burning of an incense stick moves rapidly in all directions. They collide with the particles of air present in the room, mix with air, and reach every part of the room very quickly. Another day-to-day example that I can cite is that of opening of a perfume bottle. The smell of perfume spreads due to the diffusion of perfume vapors into air. So these are few examples where diffusion of gases is taken. Diffusion in liquids is slower than that in gases. Well, this is because the particles in liquids move slowly as compared to the particles in gases. Let us cite some examples which will make our concept about diffusion in liquids more clearer. If a crystal of potassium permanganate is placed at the bottom of water in a beaker, then the purple color of potassium permanganate spreads into the whole water slowly. The spreading of purple color of potassium permanganate into water on its own is due to the diffusion of potassium permanganate particles into water. If a crystal of copper sulfate is placed at the bottom of a beaker containing water, then the blue color of copper sulfate spreads into the whole water. Again, the spreading of blue color of copper sulfate into water on its own is due to the diffusion of copper sulfate particles into water. The spreading of ink in water is again another example. When we drop ink into a beaker of water, we would find that this ink spreads in the entire beaker. So these are some of the examples that I cite from day-to-day life where the diffusion in liquids is prevalent. Diffusion can also take place in solids. Diffusion in solids is a very slow process. Let us take an example. If we write something on a blackboard and leave it uncleaned for a considerable period of time, say at least for 10-15 days, we would find that it becomes quite difficult to clean the blackboard afterwards. Well, this is due to the fact that some of the particles of chalk have diffused into the surface of the blackboard. This is something which we observe just before the opening of the schools after the summer vacation. Normally we have summer vacations for what? Around 30-40 days. So when school reopens, in case we have not cleaned the board before the vacation, we would find that this is very difficult to remove the chalk marks. If two metal blocks are bound together tightly and kept undisturbed for years, then the particles of one metal are found to have diffused into the other metal. Well, the diffusion of a solid substance into another solid substance is very slow, and people might think that diffusion has not even taken place. The rate of diffusion in liquid is much faster than that in solids. So this brings me to the end of this lecture. But before I sign off, as I normally do, I would again repeat that for this session also, in case you have any queries, please do feel free to write to me at scubeclasses@gmail.com, or you may text on WhatsApp at the numbers that are given on the screen. I know some of you are doing it. Thank you for your responses. But again, those people who are not doing it, in case you have any queries, please don't feel shy. Come ahead, come with your queries. It would be a privilege on my part to be answering to your queries. Thank you so much.